So I wanted to continue with our list of 100 good deeds a Jew can do. We hand them out to our community. We're on number 19. Yes, we're making some headway here. We're on number 20 will be Kiddush Levana. And then we're going to move on to prayers. So this is like, these 10 have been about blessings. We did thunder, lightning, other ones. This is about blessing over on rainbows. Okay, so if you want to see the blessing on a rainbow, turn to page 1003. 1003, you could see the blessing you make. And it's somewhat hard to remember this blessing by heart. And I'll tell you why I think it's hard to remember it. Because once you see it, you might get it. It's a little bit, seems like there's extra words here, and that's true. There was a debate in the Gemara as to which words we should use for this blessing. And so they incorporated both of the opinions. So therefore it seems extra wordy. And I think that's why people sometimes don't remember it by heart. When you see a rainbow, you're supposed to make this blessing on top of page 1003. Socher habrit v'ne'eman b'vrito v'kayam b'mamaro. That's why there's redundancy, brit, because it's two opinions that they put together. And the explanation is, who remembers the covenant is faithful to the covenant and fulfills his word. So you could imagine that when you see a rainbow, the blessing would be similar to some other natural phenomenon that you praise God for them. You say, oh, the beautiful colors, the different shades, and all the beautiful sights for eyes. But we don't say that. We mention the covenant. Which covenant are we talking about? Noah, right? When we see a rainbow, we basically praise God for remembering the covenant. What's the covenant? God says, if there's going to be, and the Torah says it, when I bring clouds upon the earth, and the bow appears in the clouds, I remember my covenant between me and you and every living creature among all flesh, so that the water shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. Basically, when a rainbow appears in the sky, that means God averted a decree for something bad to happen to us. And the rainbow is a sign that God protected us and saved us from another flood. So basically, when we see a rainbow, it reminds us that God spared us. And that's what we recognize with this blessing. So that's why it's like unique. It's not like a normal blessing over natural phenomena that you're just praising God for the beauty of it. Rather, recognizing that God's saving us and sparing us. So the language is that God, number one, remembers the covenant and is faithful to the covenant and then fulfills the word. The word is that God would protect us and that God would send a rainbow as a sign. So here's just a few practical halachas connected to this. So let's say you saw part of a rainbow. I don't know, you looked out and you saw just a small piece of it. There's a little bit of a debate around that. Some say it was instituted on a full semicircle. I mean, full rainbows, like really like a full circle, but a half semicircle. If you see a full semicircle, obviously make a blessing. If you see a little bit of it, there's debate around that. If you do say the blessing, you have upon whom to rely. But definitely, if you see half of a semicircle or more, then you would make the blessing for sure. So a lot of times it's like that. Like if you see a little bit of the rainbow, maybe try to get to a better place if you want to make the blessing to see more of it. So there's a law that you're not supposed to gaze at the rainbow for too long, which seems like counterintuitive to, I guess, like, I don't know, all the people post on Facebook the pretty rainbows, right? So the Gemara says that God's glory appears in the rainbow. And so we want, out of respect, we don't want to gaze at the rainbow. I guess it's the idea that God's like expressing the covenant through the rainbow in that moment. Maybe it's God's glory. So we don't, like, according to Jewish law, it says you're not supposed to gaze at it for too long, but you do make the blessing and you recognize it. If you see the rainbow through glass, it's also okay, or if you're in the car, so you don't have to necessarily get out to see the rainbow. If you see it, it's fine. And just a few other pieces on the rainbow. There are different opinions on the rainbow. Practically, this is kind of like what's expressed in Jewish law, but there's sources that say the rainbow predated creation. It says God created it even before creation. So in the time of Noah, it became a sign of a covenant, but doesn't mean that there's not other purposes of the rainbow according to that. And some say also that the rainbow, that's one opinion. Another says that the rainbow of destruction is like a different rainbow, but we don't go by that approach. What I'm trying to show is that there's other statements on rainbows that highlight some more positive elements as well. In terms of practical law, though, we follow this and we say that blessing, which kind of recognizes that God averted this decree and was true to his word.
What if you say a double rainbow?
A double rainbow. I don't think you say it twice now. That's a good question. Yeah.
Is this a once a day?
Good, great question. So it's a once a storm. So if the clouds disperse and they come and then it starts raining again, you see another rainbow, you make another blessing on that rainbow. So good question.